G'day all, it's Kim from Kim's Homestead here with you again, and I'm coming to you from a very sunny Victoria, Australia. It is absolutely beautiful today and spring has certainly sprung. I'd like to take this particular time to talk to you about the Pantry Challenge and what I've found with this particular one, and it may coincide with the one I did back in January. Now, back in January I did a 2-month Pantry Challenge. It was pretty much the height of summer. I had a lot of produce coming in through the garden, and I pretty much ate fresh from the garden every day, so I found it wasn't really true to the Pantry Challenge, and that was eating from your stored food and taking from the freezers and the pantry such as you would during your normal winter time when you've got all your stored food, when you need it the most. Now, I wanted to find out where the holes were, such as what products I needed to upgrade, change, store more of, store less of, and what needed to be done in my pantry and my food storage capabilities so that if something such as sickness or loss of income or whatever, and how long could I go without having to worry about putting food on the table, not only for myself but also for my family too. If one of my children had serious illness, whether it be through illness or accident, or for some reason they lost their income, could I help them in some way? Maybe I could offset some of their groceries, which is a huge part of anyone's general weekly bills, really. And if I could take away that worry, then that would be great. But anyway, so what did I find back in January? I did a lot of cleaning out. I did a lot of reorganising of my pantry and itemising what stores I did have so that I could find out what I had way too much of, how old was it, was I rotating through my stock regularly, and if not, why not? So I did an inventory of my 2 big working pantries. I have a large walk-in pantry that is where I store most of my long-term goods, and I have a kitchen. It's also a walk-in pantry, but it's a small corner one, and that is what I call my working pantry. So I did an inventory on it all, and I found with that it was pretty well stocked, and a lot of the goods that I had in there were actually getting a bit old because I wasn't going through them quick enough, and maybe it was stuff that I don't really like. I didn't think, I thought when I canned it that it would be good. I wouldn't mind having it, and but I found that some of the stuff I love it fresh, but I just don't like it canned. So yeah, a lot of it's still sitting there, like asparagus, you know. I love it fresh. I don't particularly care for it canned. So yeah, those sort of things I actually have to see what I can do about it. And things such as the asparagus, I'm actually thinking I might take it all out of the jars, and I think I might puree it and put it in the dehydrator, turn it into powders, which I can then add to soups and stews and things like that. I think that would be a better use of it and free up some space in the pantry. So that may be a summertime project. I've got a lot of projects. Anyway, also I wanted to organise things so that I knew where it was for a start. I know what I've got in there in each pantry, but where is it? You know? So that had to be sorted out. And there are areas in the big pantry, such as the big wine rack that's in there. I don't drink a lot of bottled wine, so I'm actually thinking of taking out those shelves and turning them into storage shelves so that I can put jars of like jam and preserves and whatnot in there, which I do go through a few jams, jellies and things like that. So more storage space there, which would be good. So yeah, this particular time I went for 3 months to see how I fared over 3 months, what I ran out of early. And to be honest, I really didn't run out of that much. Ice cream, yeah. I ran out of ice cream, I think in the 3rd, 4th week. So more ice cream. I do like my ice cream. I do have an ice cream maker, but yeah, that's something else you got to do, isn't it? Anyway. At least if I make it myself, I don't have it sitting in freezers for God knows how long. But anyway, what else did I run out of? Yeah, I was down to about my last half roll of toilet paper. So, yeah, I think I've got to up my stores in toilet paper a bit. So if I come across that toilet paper shortage at the beginning of the year, I might be in trouble, because, you know, you couldn't get toilet paper, tissues, hand towel, anything like that for love nor money. Anyway, so yeah, that was another thing. I was fairly right on cheese products, because I do make a lot of my own cheese, and I did try and stock up on milk. I did run out of that long life milk and had to resort to powdered milk. I didn't mind it, didn't bother me, but my guests didn't particularly like it, but that didn't matter, they could bring their own. So I thought I might put a few more bottles of milk and rotate them through the freezers as well. So we'll see how that goes. I did have one in the freezer, and when I thawed it out, it turned all lumpy and clumpy, and it didn't thaw out very well. So we'll see. Maybe I'll put long life milk in the freezer and see how that goes. I'll just do one and see how it thaws out. Or maybe I'll just up the long life in the pantry. We'll see. So what did I use the most of? Well, to be honest, I used the goods out of the freezer more than in the pantry. The pantry was just to top up recipes. Sometimes I deliberately just use stuff out of the pantry, and that was so that it would get used. But yeah, as far as the veggies and stuff like that went, I wasn't overly fussed in the products that I had canned, the vegetables anyway. I much preferred them frozen, so that's good to know. So I won't be canning as much of the vegetables that come out of the garden. I'll be putting most of them in the freezers. So having the freezers that I've got, I've found to be absolutely worthwhile. And as I have solar panels, it doesn't cost me that much to run all the freezers, very little actually. So to me it's worth it. And if the power goes out, I've got quite a large generator that I can hook up to the freezers, or hook up to the house actually, and run the power in the house, and all the fridges and freezers off grid, more or less, so long as there's fuel. And I'm not a big one in storing fuel because it doesn't store that well, and it goes off, and I'm not buying all that fuel just for it to sit in a fuel tank and go off. So if I can't get fuel, well, I can't get fuel. That's when I will have to have a huge preserving day, week. Anyway, but we're pretty good here, being this close to town. It would take a catastrophic event for us not to have power here. But never say never, eh? You never know. Especially these times. Anyway. Yeah, so what do I need less of? Well, obviously the canned vegetables. They were too soft and mushy in the cans, so definitely less of that. I might do more of the ready-made meals. I find that works better for me. If especially like sauces and things like that, if I cook up some lamb or some chicken, mostly chicken or beef or pork or anything like that, I like to pour over a sauce on top of rice or mashed potato, or even semolina or couscous or something like that. and but I need to make it in small jars, obviously, because I find the large one, or the smallest that you can buy, but the larger ones, it's just way too much. And I've got all these little packets and pockets and whatever in the freezer of half jars of this and half jars of that. So for storage capabilities, I would like to just make up like big sauces and put them in small jars. I think that would be better. Or even stews, soups. I do like soups and whatnot, so yeah, more ready-made meals, ready to just pop the top off, stick it in a pot, bring it to the boil, tea's done. That's my kind of meal. What I'm also going to do this year, I do have, off the chook pen, I have what I call my berry pen. It's part of the old chook pen when I had a lot more chooks. I've tried growing green crops in there, and like to feed the chooks fresh green stuff and all that sort of stuff. But I find letting them through to the orchard a few times a year, plus there's other areas that I can open up and let them through to. And with all the extra, like the bottoms off of the cabbage leaves and all the veggie scraps, they get heaps. I don't need to be growing extra crops just for the chooks. So I put down a heap of weed matting and some old veggie beds that I had pulled down to put in the wicking beds. I've put them up in there, and I've covered it with bird netting to keep the birds out, and I'm turning that into a berry pen. So in there I'll be growing raspberries, blackberries, just all sorts of berries and things that the sparrows and other birds love to eat. And so more on the berry pen, more work done on there. Also, as you may know, I took down a large gum tree from the side of my kitchen here, and that area I have almost cleaned up. I'm still waiting on the arborist to come back and mulch out the stumps and everything. He was waiting on parts on his stump grinder, so I just have to wait until he's got it ready. And then I'm planting a very small citrus orchard in there. I may plant a couple of nut trees as well along the fence. I'm thinking almonds and maybe a walnut there somewhere. So, and I'd love to put in a macadamia. I have put in macadamia trees here, but they just don't damn grow. They're supposed to grow well in this area. I have seen full-grown trees of them, but they don't like me for some reason. Anyway, so yeah, more fruit trees, because I found in the pantry challenges I run out of fruit fairly quickly. I'm a heavy fruit eater. I love it. So more fruit, maybe some more fruit leathers. I've got my dehydrator. I really don't put that to much use, so yeah, more fruit leathers, more dried fruits, more maybe fruit in a jar. I do have quite a bit there, but maybe some different stuff. We'll see. Frozen fruits. I love to munch on frozen fruits, especially during the summertime. So anyway, so what did I get out of it altogether? Oh, well, a new dishwasher from the last one, and a new vacuum sealer. So as far as money-wise goes, it did save me quite a lot. Normally I spend about between anywhere between $450 to $500 a month on groceries. That would be for everything. That would be meat, cleaning goods, all sorts of things. So I do need to cut that down dramatically. Meats, there's not a great deal I can do about that because I don't have the capacity to grow my own meat. I used to do rabbits and chooks and guinea pigs, but I'm just too old for that now. It was taking too much, and a couple of years ago I had a heart attack because of all the stress, so I had to get rid of pretty much everything but a few chooks, which I keep for fresh eggs and for making compost. So, yeah, I don't have the capacity to grow my own meat, and unfortunately no one around in the local areas here do farm share. So the only alternative is either the supermarkets or the bulk butchers. So I usually wait until there's a half reasonable special and I buy in bulk. It's about all I can do. And then I parcel it up into meal-sized lots and in the freezers. I would love to buy farm fresh animals and have them butchered, and if they could be butchered on the farm, that would be great, because the animals have a fabulous life. They really know nothing. They're herded into a yard, which they're herded quite often for worming or for veterinary care or for whatever, and then boop, done. And then they're processed on site and sold off into whoever buys them, I suppose, or then they're carted off into the chiller and sat for a fortnight or however long it takes before being cut up and processed. But here in this country, can't do it. The Big Babysitters have said, nope, not doing it unless you've got this licence and that licence and this process and that process, and just can't do it. So it's left up to the big conglomerates or big boys, and they've got all the say. So if you're in a country that you can have it done, fight hard to keep it. Anyway, so that's my rant. And will I be doing the Pantry Challenge again? Probably next year. I will do it again probably next winter. Will I go for 3 months? Yeah, may as well. Go for from the end of autumn to the start of spring. Live out of the pantry over the winter. That gives me a fairly good indication of what's lacking, what places need to be shored up, what areas I need to go into, such as, more ready meals and so forth for this time. And also I get to save some money at the same time. I'm not real sure how much I have saved this time. I know it's been probably over $1,000. I have spent some money on other things. I am going to purchase probably about $300 to $400 on meats, maybe different cuts, more roasts and so forth, which I don't have a lot of. Maybe some nice pork chops. Maybe some beef steaks, the big slabs, and have them cut up. So I've got more beef, because prices of meats it's about to skyrocket. So I may as well fill up the freezers while I can afford it. Anyway, so this is me bringing the end of the Pantry Challenge for 2022 to you. And I do hope you enjoyed the series. I know there was a lot of muck-ups, and yeah, my filming really isn't very good. I am over 60 and I'm just learning this technology, so I don't think I've done too bad. Anyway, so we'll see how we go next year, 2023. All right, catch you later. Bye, friends.